WWE is being sued for the dumbest reason ever, but we got to talk about that. Plus, backstage news on the creative team, and we are going to talk about some huge success for the WWE Holiday Tour. Will WWE bring back house shows? If you want more videos like this, don't forget to click that subscribe button and ring that bell. This way you never miss a video on the channel. I'm going to keep you updated with everything that is happening in the world of professional wrestling. First things first, we should probably talk about the WWE Holiday Tour. WWE has made the decision to cut back on live events in the past year and a half or so. Obviously a cost-cutting move for TKO. However, their recent holiday tour actually proves that the WWE product is really, in fact, hot. According to Fightful Select, the December 30th show in Baltimore, Maryland, and the January 3rd show in Worcester, Massachusetts, both became WWE's highest growing WWE house shows in their respective markets' history. The achievement is very, very big, obviously. This was huge deal. WWE normally does an MSG event on December 26th. It was replaced by the Baltimore show, and it obviously had a lot of success. The crowd was wild. They packed out both venues. You know, WWE has kind of been just killing it, really. WWE had a very solid lineup as well, with a lot of their top stars taking place. Cody Rhodes obviously was featured, and obviously that's a big deal because, WWE calls him QB1. But this is awesome, man. But I think this leads to a conversation that we should probably be having. Is WWE going to bring back house shows? Um, I'm a little bit different than everybody. I think house shows are good for business. I think house shows, yeah, I know it costs WWE money to do them, but I think WWE house shows really are a great way to get talent on the road, give them some practice, keep them from ring rust, obviously. But also, I think it gives people an opportunity to get over with the crowd, especially if they're not on television. And I think that's one of the reasons why I like house shows so much. And I think they have such a significant impact. I actually don't go to house shows anymore. I actually haven't really been going to wrestling shows in general. I would like to see that change maybe in 2026. But the demand, tickets, I mean, it's just such an inconvenience at this point trying to get tickets. And with wedding planning and content creation, sometimes it doesn't always make sense to go to an event. But I think having them be accessible is a great thing. And if you look at it from the perspective or the lens in which somebody who maybe isn't featured on TV enough can go into a house show, try some different things, take a risk, and see if it resonates with the crowd, perhaps maybe that could be an idea put into TV. I never think it's a bad idea to do house shows. I would like to see WWE continue to do them. Maybe WWE will after this. That brings us to our next topic, ladies and gentlemen. Backstage news on WWE's creative team. We know that WWE Unreal Season 2 is just a couple weeks away on Netflix. However, a new report from PW Insider has actually shed some light on the current infrastructure for WWE's creative team. The report actually notes that key personnel responsible for storylines on television is obviously Triple H as the top guy. He is the chief creative officer of the company. But in addition to that, Bruce Pritchard and Ed Koski, are identified as the voices in the creative department. So, we've heard, with SmackDown, like Road Dogg is involved. We've heard of different names being involved. But it seems like right now, when it comes to Raw and SmackDown, the way that it works is that Ryan Ward is now reportedly overseeing the creative agenda for both Raw and SmackDown. So he's kind of like in a central role for everything. And then on SmackDown, the show is being led by Road Dogg Brian James and John Swakata. And then the WWE Raw show is being co-led by Alexandra Williams and Jonathan Bakestorm. And then, of course, WWE has other people that contribute and things of that nature. They all sit together, come up with ideas and things of that nature. I think it's cool to see this. I think it's cool to kind of have a little peek behind the scenes of who's actually contributing to the WWE product in that way. For a while, I think it also makes sense to hold people accountable, right? With us knowing this kind of thing of who's contributing and who's doing things, it kind of gives you an idea of who's responsible. Now, let me be clear, Triple H is the head booker. So ultimately, if he's approving things and they're not good, it falls on him. But I do think WWE, I think especially in the last few weeks, and I've said this countless times on the channel, AEW and WWE have just been super strong lately. And going into 2026, I'm glad to see what they're going to come up with. Obviously, we're on the road to WrestleMania, and it's going to be very intriguing to see what WWE has lined up for WrestleMania this year, going to Vegas. But you know, if SmackDown isn't good, we know we got to blame Road Dogg, right? And he's part of the blame. But I think SmackDown has actually also been really good, and I'm hoping WWE figures it out. And I think Triple H has a great team around him, but Triple H also has had some bad things happen on TV, and ultimately that falls on him. And you got to be accountable, and you got to be held accountable for those things. But knowing what the creative process looks like and knowing what the creative team looks like, I think it's really good and positive overall. I would like to see WWE really kick things into high gear. This past week, SmackDown was awesome. I'm expecting big things for Raw tonight with their Stranger Things collaboration. It just seems like overall a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day to be a professional wrestling fan. And going into 2026, I would like to see more of it. That brings us to our final topic, ladies and gentlemen. WWE is being sued for literally the quite possibly the dumbest reason I think I have ever seen in my life. PW Insider has come out with a report that Nathaniel Tatha Nadaji, who promoted WCW wrestling in Arkansas, has filed a lawsuit against WWE, TKO, and 2K Games, and several other related 2K entities. Basically, this lawsuit was filed on December 30th of 2025 in the U.S. District Court of the Western Division of Arkansas, Fayetteville Division. The 30-page complaint states that Tatha Nadaji handled WCWA's creative direction, booking, staging, filming, and publishing. It alleges that beginning around August of 2019, he developed a repeatable visual sequence for the WCWA faction called Tier 1. This faction used a pose that was very close to the Bloodline gesture. Now, this is really crazy because I don't think there's any merit to this whatsoever. And I'm not a lawyer. I'm not any of those things. I'm not a judge. I'm not a lawyer. I don't really know the legal system with that. But I never really knew that you could trademark a gesture. But I also think it's really silly. I just think it's dumb in general. Quite frankly, I think it just looks stupid. And I think this is one of those frivolous lawsuits that probably aren't going to mean anything. But deep down inside, I just think it's such a stupid and funny idea that even talking about it almost seems like a waste of time. But it just goes to show you, with companies like WWE and AEW and TNA and all these large wrestling companies, people will always try to find a way to make a quick dollar. And I think that's kind of what this is. I think somebody's looking for a quick payout. I don't think WWE executives even know what WCWA is. You know, like, I don't think these people care to pay any attention to that, and let alone a gesture that the Bloodline used. It's kind of weird, right? Like, throwing your finger up in the air like that, like that's just mind-boggling to me, honestly. It really is mind-boggling to me. But we'll see what happens, of course. I'll keep you guys updated along the way, so make sure you guys click subscribe. Thanks for watching.